My 8-month-old dog, Tilly, recently chewed through my new jump rope. She has also evacuated my entire gym bag, destroyed a hip roller, and shows zero remorse for any of it. And I love her completely and wholly. And that got me thinking. Welcome to your daily hit of grace and grit, your quick dose of inspiration to kickstart your day. I'm Courtney Townley, and here is today's hit. Let me set the scene for you. I have a gym bag that lives on a bench by my front door. And Tilly, who is 8 months old and very much in a chewing phase, has decided that my gym bag is her personal treasure chest. If I forget to put it away, she will pull it off the bench, shove her head inside, and start excavating. She's made off with balls and jump ropes and socks, so many socks. She has pulled out resistance bands and carried them across the house like hard-won prizes. Does any of that make me love her less? Does it make me want to stop feeding her, walking her, giving her attention, or writing her off as a lost cause? Of course not. Far from it. I adore her. I love her. I am not attaching her behavior to my love for her. And that gap between what she does and how I feel about her is really what I want to talk about today. So most of the love in our lives, if you think about it, is conditional. And I don't say that to be harsh. I say this a lot in my community. It's just simply true, and it's very human. We have expectations for how people are supposed to behave in order for us to love them. We call these manuals. And nobody's read these manuals. Nobody even knows they exist. Nobody's ever seen them written down, but we hold them in our hearts and in our heads. If you behave this way, you get my love and warmth and openness. If you don't behave this way, you get my withdrawal, my coldness, my resentment, less of my attention. We do this with our partners, with our colleagues, with friends. We do it with ourselves. We make our love contingent on behavior, on outcomes, on whether the other is meeting the expectations that we've never fully articulated. And maybe you have actually told somebody what your manual says, what your expectations are. Certainly that happens in relationships. But unconditional love is a very different approach. It doesn't mean you approve of everything that someone else does. It doesn't mean that you tolerate harm or abandon your own needs. It means that the love itself is not on the table. It's not something the other person can earn or lose based on their behavior on any given day. And I know that this sounds like such a wild concept because, again, it's not how most of us live our lives. We tend to distribute very conditional love, not unconditional love. I bring this up because I taught a masterclass recently called Relationship Alchemy. And one of the concepts at the center of this class is a question, really. What would love do here? Not what would anger do, not what would fear do, or resentment, or the version of you that is exhausted and reactive and running on empty. What would love do? And that question does not always give you a soft answer. Oftentimes, love does very hard things. Sometimes love sets a firm boundary. Sometimes love says no, or ends something, or holds someone accountable. But the intention behind the action is completely different when it's grounded in love rather than fear or frustration or manipulation. And here's the piece that I find most compelling, which, by the way, I am not a master of this. I am not a master of distributing unconditional love, but it's something that fascinates me, and I definitely know in my heart to live more that way would be a nutrient. And so I'm practicing. And man, does life give me a lot of opportunity to practice. So the piece I find most compelling is choosing to ask that question, what would love do here? Choosing to lead from love, even when the other person has not earned it in that moment, is not just good for them. It's good for you, your nervous system, your health, the quality of your inner life. When I teach this masterclass each year, I usually use the example of my husband because I have a very thick manual for my husband. I'm not proud of that, but marriage, there is a part of it that I think almost becomes a little bit of a business arrangement, right? There's certain tasks that he takes care of in the home. There are certain things I'm responsible for. And it's really all too easy to turn a very intimate relationship like a marriage into a transactional relationship. And that sucks. It does not feel good. And I don't feel that way at all with my son or my dog. I would say those are really the two that I can call out the easiest, where it is so easy for my love to be unconditional. And again, not proud of this, just being very open, very vulnerable with you to say that I do lead my life largely expecting people to earn my love. But what I have found is that when I practice just answering the question of what would love do here, God, it feels good. So I want to bring this home in one more direction. The most important relationship to apply to this, or to apply this to, is really the relationship you have with yourself. We're often the most conditional with ourselves. We give ourselves love and praise and approval when we're performing well, hitting our goals, being productive, and showing up the way that we think we're supposed to. And we withdraw all those things when we fall short, when we miss the workout, when we eat the thing, when we're not the version of ourselves that we plan to be today. What would it look like to love yourself the way that I love Tilly? To show up for yourself with consistency and warmth, regardless of whether you are in a good phase or a messy one. I'm not asking you to lower your standards, but to separate your worth from your performance. It really is one of the most powerful and health-promoting practices available to you. So going forth today out into the world, I just want you to travel with this question in at least one relationship, and maybe a relationship where there's more friction than others. That would be the extra challenge. I want you to ask yourself in that relationship today, what would love do here? Would love give this person the cold shoulder? Would love talk to this person in this way? And see what changes when you lead from the answer that question gives you. So like I mentioned, I do go much deeper into the work of relationship alchemy, including unconditional love as a practice, in my weekly live on Substack, which is called Live the Code Live. So every Tuesday in 20 minutes or less, I go behind the scenes of how I apply this work to my own life. So if you're interested in doing a deeper dive, getting a little bit more support, come join me over on Substack. You can download the free app and you can find me at A Little Bit of Grace and Grit, or you can just type in my name, Courtney Townley, to find my account. I hope to see you there. If this stirred something inside of you, imagine what a whole book of clarity and courage could ignite. The Consistency Code, a midlife woman's guide to deep health and happiness, goes even deeper into the mindset and practices that create real, meaningful change at midlife. Grab your copy today over at theconsistencycode.com and keep the momentum alive.